Hello everyone, welcome back on Cloud Saviors. My name is Rahul Mujahid. I am a Microsoft certified trainer and 14x Microsoft certified professional. So in this video, we are going to discuss scopes in Microsoft Azure, or you can say Azure hierarchy. Basically, just to control the infrastructure, just to control the access part, we have some different level where you can manage your resources, where you can give the access on a limited basis, right? Let's say if you have a manager, then of course manager needs to have a different permission than the normal developer, or we can say normal user. So what are the resources we have on Microsoft Azure? So by using those resources, you can just, bifurcate these access, or you can just provide the right access to right people. So just to manage your resources, just to give the right access to your users, we have different hierarchy. So in this video, we will discuss these hierarchy. So before starting, make sure you subscribe the channel and click on the bell icon so that whenever I upload any video, you will be the first one who will be notified for the same. So let's start it. Okay, scopes in Azure and Azure hierarchy. So basically, first of all, we have management groups and subscription resource groups and then resources. So just give me a second. Let me use the marker here so that I can explain it better. Okay. So right now we are having this one. The first one is management groups. So as the name suggests, management groups. It is the first hierarchy, or we can say the topmost hierarchy available in Microsoft Azure. So first of all, we have these management groups, and under management groups, we have subscription. Management group is something where you can apply your policies, right? Where you can just apply, let's say if you want to block deployment in any particular location in multiple subscription. So instead of going into each and every subscription, what you can do, you can just apply the policy on management group level only. So whatever resources this management groups is having, whatever child resources this management groups is having, this policy will be applied on these child resource by default. So it will inherit whatever policies or conditions we have applied on this level. These child resources will inherit these policies until and unless you just mentioned that you did something called exclude. If you exclude these resources from these policies, then only this policy will not be applied on these resources. But by default, whatever policy you will apply here, it will be inherited by the child resources. And child resources is nothing, it is just your we can say subscription or maybe a management groups. So we will discuss in detail what is management groups, and what are the hierarchy, and how many management groups you can create in one single tenant, and can management groups be a part of management groups, or it is just only limited to subscription only. We will discuss in our next slides. So let me quickly move on to the subscription. Subscription is nothing, it is just a, the exact space where you can deploy your resources. When I say resources, it means your resource groups and your exact resources, whatever it is, virtual machine, databases, and whatever you want to create. So subscription is the place where you will deploy your actual Azure resources. Okay, so make sure you remember this thing, that subscription will be a part of management group. So after the subscription, it is not like that, there would be only one resource. We call it resource group. It is nothing like that you wanna add management groups after subscription. No, it is not like that. One subscription will have multiple resource group under that. Okay, so first we have management group, then we have subscription. On the third level, we have resource group. So in resource group, we have the actual resources. So it is a kind of a logical dividation. Okay, So if you want to, let's say you're having a 4 to 5 teams. First one team is IT, second is marketing, third is HR, and fourth is let's say any other team. So you want to divide the workload, that whatever they are doing, you can be monitor that thing, and you can just keep an eye what they are doing. So what you can do, you can just create a different subscription and assign one subscription to one team. That is the one way. In other way, if you are having only one subscription and still you want to manage, you want to assign some, let's say one single bucket to one team and one second bucket to another team. So we have another way. So you can just divide this one single subscription, and you can create one RG for one team, second RG for second team, and third RG for the third one. So basically, whatever team first will create, it will be a part of this RG only, and whatever second team will create, it will be a part of this second RG. So basically, yes, you have a lot of options. You can just create RBAC roles here, role based access control. So if you want that team 1 should not be see the resources of team 2, so yes, you can enable the RBAC permissions as per your need, so that whenever team 1 will log in, they will only see their own resources whatever they have created. They won't be able to see the resources created by team 2. Okay, the moment the login, they will only see RG1, nothing else. Okay, now let's talk about the policy. So you can apply policy here and here and here and here. So it's up to you. If you apply any policy here, it will be inherited by default, each and every child resources, whether it is subscription, resource group, or any single resources. Okay, so let's say if you want to apply policy on this level, so it will be applied on these 2 RG, and of course each and every resource which will fall apart, which will be a part of these particular 2 resource groups. Okay, so of course, what is the reason of having these four level of hierarchy in Azure. So basically, if you let's say if you're working in one MNC, so it is not like that. In MNC we are having 1 or 2 subscription. They might be having multiple subscription, let's say 20 subscription, 30 subscription. So in this case, how you are going to implement Azure policy? So you have one option just to deploy policy on each and every subscription. So you have to just go on every subscription and deploy policy in 20 times if you are having 20 subscription. So that is a one way. Second way, let's say we are having management group. So now you have to apply policy on management group level, on this level. So this policy will be applied on these child resources by default. This is the biggest advantage of having management groups, or we can say this particular hierarchy. So whatever you will do in the parent resource, this property will be inherited by the child resources. Now that would be your decision where you want to deploy your policy or any other things, any other configuration. So you can do it on subscription level, you can do it on RG level, or you can do it any resource level as well. If you want to do that, I have user 1, and this is if you have database admin, and this database admin needs to see only database, so you can just configure RBAC policies. You can just give the role of this particular SQL only, so that whenever that user will log in, he will be able to see this particular resource, nothing else. No matter if you are having multiple resources on your subscription, but this user will only be able to see this particular database. Okay, so that is the third one. On fourth level, we have resources, the actual resources. So make sure without resource group, you won't be able to create any resource in Azure subscription. You must be having resource group if you want to create any resource on Azure portal. So in this particular resource group, we are having virtual machine, virtual network, blob storage, SQL, and automation account. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to divide your RG as per your team. Let's say team 1, team 2, team 3. And second one is if you want to divide, as a resource type, that yes, VM will be part of this particular RG, database will be a part of this particular RG, and any other management resources would be a part of this particular RG. So it completely depends on your planning, or of course your company policies, how you want to configure your Azure infrastructure. Okay, so we have discussed management groups, subscriptions, resource group, and the actual resources. Let me start with the management groups. Okay, we discussed that already. Let me change the slide. Okay, now we have Azure management groups. So an Azure management group is logical container that allow Azure administrator to manage access policy and compliance across multiple Azure subscription. As I already mentioned, we use these hierarchy to configure policies and to provide access to the right people. Okay, so of course access, policy and compliance across multiple Azure subscription. Your compliance would be let's say if you are working in India, or let's say if you are working in Australia, so your company you have one company policy that every resource needs to be in one particular region. So we can say without educating your user, or we can say your employees, what you can do, you can just deploy one policy mentioning that if resources can only be deployed in one particular region. Okay, so somehow by mistake, if any user try to create any resource outside of these regions, he wouldn't be able to do that because you have configured policy on resource group level or maybe management level. Okay, so that's why you can just implement these policies. You can just give the right access to the right people. So these kind of policies you can deploy on Azure management group level. Then 10,000 management group can be supported in a single directory. Let's say you have one directory or tenant, right? The same thing. So you can create 10,000 management groups in one single tenant or one single directory. A management group's tree can support up to 6 level of depth. It means you can, as I already mentioned, one management group can be a part of another management group. Just give me a second. Let me use the marker, the actual one. Let me change the color, black, red one. Okay. So let's say if you are having this management group, so it is not like that you will having only one root management group. No, this management group can be a part of another management group, and again this management can be a part of another management groups. So it will go till 6 depth. So 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. And of course the first one we would be having a root management group. Okay, so this limit doesn't include the root level or the subscription level. So this would be your root, we can say management group. Okay, we can say the parent one, and one management group can be a part of another management groups. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, and on this point you will be having subscription. Okay, so this is the case. I mean, you can do it, it is possible, but it is not mandatory that you are going to follow this hierarchy. There might be a chances that you will be having one management group and then subscription, something like that. And there might be a chances you will be having one management group and then you having another management group, then you will be having subscription. Yes, you can be have one hierarchy, second, third, fourth, as per your need. It is not a compulsion that you have to maintain these 6 hierarchy. No, but yes, just to you should know this thing, that yes, it can be till the depth of 6 management group, but yes, not more than that. Okay, so just to mention again, just to repeat myself again, one management group can be a part of another management group. Okay, I will show you in the diagram as well in the next slide. Okay, so each management group and subscription can only support one parent. So of course it's a kind of parent and child relationship. So one parent will only okay, one child will support only one parent, but yes, one parent can have multiple child. So let's say this is my we can say management group. Okay, so this management group is having 3 management group and 1 subscription, so it's having 4 child. So this is the one thing that is possible, but it is not possible that one management group is a part of 2 management groups. So no. So just relate this thing with the real time scenario. One child cannot be a part of 2 parents, right? They cannot inherit the properties from 2 parents, but yes, one parents can have multiple child. Okay, exactly the same way, one management groups can have multiple management groups, but yes, one management group cannot be a part of multiple management groups. Okay, so it will inherit only one single parent management groups. Okay. Okay, each management group can have many children. As I already mentioned, each management group can have many children. Okay, but yes, one children will only inherit the property from one single parent. not a multiple one. Perfect. So now we have a proper diagram. So now you will now you have a theory knowledge, and now you have diagram. You can relate it better. As you can see, the first one we have a root management group. This is the root one. So we can say this is the parent one. So this parent is having, we can say, 5 children. 3 of them are management group and 2 of them are subscription. So let's cover these points first. So these two subscription, it's a kind of a, we can say final validation. So after this hierarchy, there would be a no management group, there would be a no subscription. Under this subscription, there would be a only one thing, RG, resource group. Okay, you can only create resource group after this point of hierarchy. Now let's talk about these management groups. So basically you have one is this one, we can say HR, second is for IT, third is for marketing. Okay, so basically this management group is dedicated for HR people, this management groups is dedicated for IT, this management group is dedicated for the marketing one. So again, since it is a management group, so it can create more child resources. And what are these child resources? First is subscription, second is itself management groups. Whenever there would be a subscription, then of course it's a last stage at this point. After this stage, only one thing can be created. We call it resource group. You cannot create subscription, you cannot create management groups. But yes, if there is a management groups, then yes, you can create more management groups till 6 depth, 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. But in this case, it's a blank one. Okay, now let's talk about this one, IT one. So we have this production. First of all, we have IT, then again it is having again management group production, then again it is having 2 more management groups. First is GeoRegion 1, second is GeoRegion 2. So in GeoRegion 1 it is having 2 subscription, and in GeoRegion 2 it is having 3 subscription. Okay, so after this hierarchy, there would be a no management group, there would be a no subscription, there would be only actual resources, or we can say exact resource groups. Now the marketing one, again the same thing, it is having 2 subscriptions, so you cannot create further more hierarchy in the form of management groups or subscription. You can only create resource group or resources. Okay, so just to mention it again, one management group can have multiple child resources in the form of in the form of management group and in the form of subscription. Okay, second point is one subscription can only have RG, not management groups, and of course not subscription itself. Okay, so that's all about management groups. Let me move ahead. Now let's talk about subscription. So Azure tenant is a directory, subscription is an object that represents a folder that you can put resources in. Subscriptions are tied to tenants, so one tenant can have many subscriptions but not vice versa. So basically we have a tenant, or we can say our active directory. So you can attach your subscription with your tenant. Let's say you are having your domain, let's say Rahil Mujahid @microsoft.com. Okay, this is my exact domain. Okay, so of course if I'm just managing these complete infrastructure, so of course I'm having one tenant. Okay, so in tenant you can just attach your subscription, okay, with your tenant. So it is saying one tenant can have many subscription but not vice versa. It means one subscription can be a part of one tenant. Okay, this is my tenant, but it is not possible that one subscription is a part of a multiple tenant. No. Okay, so unlimited subscription can be created under one single management group. So we just discussed management group. So unlimited subscription can be created under one single management group. Okay, unlimited subscription can be created under one single Azure Active Directory tenant. I just explained you about the tenant and Azure Active Directory. So as I mentioned, you can create, you can attach as many subscription as you want with your Azure Active Directory tenant. Okay, because generally companies having multiple subscription as per their need. One subscription for one team, second is for other ones, and something like that. Okay, so 980 resource groups can be created under one subscription. You can create 980 resource group under one subscription. Now the question is, what is resource group? So we'll be discussing in next slides. 800 deployment is supported under one subscription and single location. You can just deployment is 800 supported under one subscription and one single location. When I say location, it means per region. So if we have a different region, we have availabilities on, right? So if I talk about one single location, then 800 deployment is supported under one subscription. Okay, so I'm not talking about the actual resources. It is a deployment. If you want to reinitiate it, if you have reached this limit, that what you can do, you can just go ahead in the RG and just delete your deployment history. Then you can deploy more resources in the same RG. Okay, so it is not restricted by resources, but now we are talking about deployment, not the exact resources. Okay, so make sure you know the difference between them. Okay, so let me just open the diagram of Azure subscription. First of all, we have management groups. This is what we have already discussed. Second, the subscription. This is the second level of hierarchy on Azure, we can say Azure platform. So on subscription, you must have heard about free subscription, trial subscription, and EA subscription, enterprise agreement. So basically it depends what kind of subscription you are using. So basically it needs to be attached with one single tenant, or you can say your Active Directory. Then only you can just access your subscription by using your email ID. Okay, so subscription is a place where you will create your actual resources. If you want to create virtual machine, then of course you must be having subscription. Under this subscription, you will be having this resource group, and then only you can create your resources under these resource groups. Okay, I mean, this is very simple thing. Let me quickly move ahead with the resource groups. So a resource group is a logical container into which Azure resources like web apps, databases, virtual machines, Azure account are deployed and managed. So of course, these resources is not just limited to web apps and databases and Azure accounts. Whatever you are supposed to create on Azure platform, it needs to be in one single resource group. So first resource group would be there. It's a kind of a logical container, as I already mentioned. It's kind of a logical container. So RG must be there, and in one particular RG you will create any resource whatever you want. Okay, 50 tags are allowed per resource or resource group. Tags are completely non-technical. You have to first of all give the name and then value. Let's say if you are having a department is equal to IT, so you want to assign these tag to this particular virtual machine. So what you can do, you can just mention the tag and tag value. Department is equal to IT. This is how you can just give the tag. Tagging is exact like as the name suggests, you are just giving a name to these resources, that yes, this resource is belongs to this department. Okay, you can assign 50 tags are allowed per resource or resource group. You can give 50 resource to resource wise, or we can say resource group wise. Okay, deployment per resource group in the deployment history is limited to 800. You can just keep 800 resources in your deployment history per RG. Resources per deployment limited to 800. It means if you want to, if you are using any kind of automation script, you are using Terraform or ARM script, so you are allowed to create 800 resources in one single go, in one single script. Okay, so make sure you remember this thing. Then resources per resource group per resource type is limited to 800. Some resource types can exceed the limit 800. Resources per resource group per resource type. Per resource type means, let's say if you are deploying a virtual machine, so it will come under compute resource. The type would be compute. Okay, so it is saying you can create let's take an example of virtual machine. You can create 800 virtual machine in per resource group. In one resource group per resource type is limited to 800. Okay, but yes, some resources types can exceed the 800 limit. So of course, if you're feeling that you need more virtual machines, you can always raise a ticket to Microsoft support, and they will increase this limit for you. But of course, you must be having valid reason why you are doing that. The moment you explain it, then they will increase this limit for you. Okay, so now we have this final diagram. First we discuss management groups, second we discuss subscription, then resource groups. Now we are on the resources. So after deploying these actual resource group, then you can deploy your actual resources, maybe a virtual machine, virtual network, we can say blob storage, SQL, or automation account. Okay, so again, why we are doing this thing, why there is a need of this hierarchy. First of all, your access, just to bifurcate your access. Second is policy, the most important thing is. third is compliance. Okay, so you can achieve these, you can just manage your resources in a better way. You can just if you are going to configure any policy, you don't have to repeat this step again and again. So if let's say if you're having 100 subscription and okay, and you have to deploy 1000 resources, and you need to apply one policy. So how you are going to deploy this policy? So instead of deploying this policy on each and every subscription, you can just deploy policy on this level. So this policy will be applied on each and every child resource. This is the biggest example, we can say biggest advantage of having these management groups, or we can say this kind of hierarchy in Microsoft Azure. Okay, and again, the resource group is it depends how you want to use. That's a kind of a logical container. Okay, it doesn't mean that if you're having one RG, then you deploy this RG, let's say in central India, and every resource whatever you want to deploy under these RG, so it doesn't restrict you to just remain in this region. No, your RG may be in central India, but this virtual machine may be in central US. This virtual network may be at any other place. So basically what I'm trying to say, this is completely different thing. This RG may be in different region and your resources may be in different region, since it is a logical container. Okay, so make sure you remember this thing. Same things applies here as well. Okay, why they are doing, why there is a concept of RG, so that you can manage your resources in a better way. You can assign your RG to one single team, so that they would be having their own resources. Okay, so that you can restrict any other user to see the resources of any other team. Okay, so they cannot access, they cannot read, they cannot see the resources what other teams are doing. This is the best way to utilize you can utilize by using resource group. So of course you can just define these restriction by using a role-based access control, or you can say IAM. Okay, so we discussed management group, subscription, resource group, and resources. If you still having any question, then please feel free to drop a comment, and you can just message me on LinkedIn as well. But if you want to learn more, of course you can just search my name on Udemy. You will find one course. It's a kind of you will learn the basics of Microsoft Azure. That is, this course is completely for the beginners one. If you want to start your career in Microsoft Azure, then of course feel free to enroll there. And make sure before leaving you subscribe the channel and share this video with the one who really needs to see this video. Okay, so thank you so much. See you in the next lecture. Thanks a lot.